Starting with the Irish Times this morning, and their lead is Hooban the hero with late equaliser. It's Emmett Malone at Oriel Park reporting on their 1-1 draw against Karabag in their first leg last night. You've also got Ireland outclassed by holders Portugal and Armenia, beaten 4-0 in their under-19 European semi-final. And then on the second page of their sports section, Ger Siggins at Lords. Murtagh feels right at home at Lords to produce stunning bowling display, 85 all out. How Ireland bowled over England at Lords, all 10 wickets there in picture form.
Yeah, the Herald is talking about Hooban's header as well last night for Dundalk to keep the dreams alive, so that was a good result that they could have actually won the game late on. And Carragher sees Duffy move up as an interesting little side piece on this, that the Liverpool legend Jamie Carragher believes Ireland centre-half Shane Duffy can go on to bigger and better things after a very impressive season with Brighton and Hove Albion. So yeah, I would agree with that.
The Racing Post goes with uphill battle, French hero to make move on mountains. If you're not watching the cricket this morning, or when the cricket kind of takes its lunchtime, it is worth watching the Tour de France. 3 days in the Alps over the next 3 days. One of the most open races that I can remember over the last couple of years. Chris Froome's injury has helped that. Struggles with Team Ineos, one of their riders out yesterday. Julian Alaphilippe still holding on to the yellow jersey. It could be an incredible couple of days. And Ireland's into 100-30 for victory. So England still very much favourites to actually win this test. So there's tons of work to do despite a fantastic opening day for Ireland at Lords.
Yeah, look, it's obviously the big story on the Times as well. England blown away by Ireland's rookies. And an interesting piece here by Matt Hughes, plans to raise racism bans that the FA considering increasing the minimum sanction for discriminatory behaviour to a 10-match ban after figures yesterday showed that reported cases in the professional game rose by 46%. So that's a good thing, because we need to get racism out of sport big time.
Back page of the Irish Daily Star is So Long United. Bruce won't let Sean leave. That's with regards to Sean Longstaff, who may or may not be on his way to Manchester United, but it seems like it's not going to happen if Steve Bruce gets his way. Dial M for Murtagh then. Tab of the morning to a great headline there. There is Tim Murtagh there. Incredible day for him at Lords yesterday. You've also got Taoiseach Simon Coveney with his cricket-loving 100-year-old grandmother Geraldine at Lords yesterday. Rory gets Lowry help. Then we might hear from Rory McIlroy in a little while. He's been opening up about his struggles, especially on the opening day at Royal Portrush last week. And GAA, €4 million last four windfall. GAA chiefs are anticipating that up to 125,000 fans could pour into Croke Park for this weekend's All-Ireland hurling semi-finals. A lot of neutrals, you'd imagine, given the quality of the two games last year.
Yeah, the Mirror, again, Ireland commit Midsummer Murtagh at Lords, which is not a bad one by the headline writers there. And obviously looked at Dundalk, Karabag result as well, 1-1 with Hooban Nature. And Celtic were in a rout last night as well, so that's the back pages of the Mirror.
The Sun goes with not done yet. Hooban keeps Lily White Hope alive, and it wasn't their night, but the future is bright. No mohaning after exit, it says here on the Sun. Portugal 4, Ireland 0 in Yerevan, and Luke's fit to quit. So Romelu Lukaku struck a deal with Manchester United to sit out their tour games to avoid wrecking his Inter Milan move. And it's lethal jigs and Murtagh. So here's Tim Murtagh giving England the mother of all World Cup hangovers.
Yeah, the Irish Examiner, Lords and Masters, again about Ireland. It just goes to show you, doesn't it, about attitude in sport. I'd say the English boys turned up yesterday just thinking this would be a bit of a walk in the park, and then
100%.
They couldn't switch on the old light switch that you try and find. It's like when you're trying to go to the toilet at night time after a lot of drink and you're in a hotel and you can't find the toilet. That's what it's like. That's what it's like trying to find the light switch when you aren't tuned in at the start of any sporting moment. So that just goes to prove. And then there's at the top of this, it's Fitzgerald factor. What are you laughing at on that? You've been there in the hotel room, haven't you? Around the place going, I need to find the toilet light.
Mostly end up not switching it on.
Yeah, okay. And then, yeah, are you accurate here? Fitzgerald factor, would victory on Sunday eclipse 2013 final as Davies' greatest success? So
do you agree with that?
No, I don't. No. If he goes on and wins the All-Ireland with Wexford, it might, but even still, that was Clare, that was, you know, what he's all about, isn't it? Yeah. Really? So I don't think I don't think it'd eclipse it. If they went on and won it, it'd be a huge story, it'd be a rival story, I suppose. For sure. Back page of the Irish Independent is England left bowled over as Murtagh lives dream, and Lowry's success can inspire Ireland and Japan.
says O'Driscoll. So Brian O'Driscoll speaking yesterday, believing that Shane Lowry's heroics at the Open can inspire Ireland's Rugby World Cup hopefuls in Japan. You look at it and go, that's brilliant. We completely bat above our average, to use cricketing parlance, since we seem to be doing that at the moment. It's a real lesson for everyone. So to hear someone like Shane say, I can't believe I've managed to do this. He's climbed his Everest, and yet he wasn't sure if he could. So what message does that send to anybody who maybe doesn't fully believe in themselves or in how far they can achieve or how far they can go? So that's interesting quotes from him, perhaps suggesting that do the Irish players actually believe that they can go this far? Maybe they can take a look at Shane Lowry. And Tier 2 Football Championship proving a hard sell in Leinster. This is Martin Brehenny's story with quotes from Jim Bulger. It's fair to say reservations are being expressed amongst our counties. Some are looking for tweaks, says the Leinster Council chairman. This is something obviously that you've spoken a good bit about, Kieran, in terms of a Tier 2 championship, but in the specific case of this John Horan proposal, or proposals when it comes to these two things, it does seem like the Tier 2 championship isn't coming from the right place in the GAA's mind. It does seem like people, they're saying, well, you wanted a Tier 2 championship, you can have your Tier 2 championship, without actually thinking to themselves why we should actually be doing this.
Yeah, I think there's huge pros and cons to this, obviously. I think they do really have to. I think they should go, when the GAA are making a decision like this, I know they've their big Congress thing, but there'd be no harm in setting up a meeting where a representative from each team, a management member from each team, two people go in a car to Dublin and sit down and talk about, and hear the floor and hear the opinions of guys in weaker counties, guys in stronger counties, guys in counties in the middle that are neither here nor there, hear everybody's hear everybody's thoughts, their worries. They have legitimate worries in the Tier 2 that it will be treated as the Joe McDonagh, that the Sunday game will not show any highlights. And I know there's kind of stuff in there, but it has to be sold more concrete to them. When you're trying to do something like this, I always think you should go and tell the players the idea first and get any of their, like you've gone to your committee, they've come back with the proposals. Then you meet a representative and a player and a manager from each of the counties, or player and one of the management team from each of the counties. Everybody goes into a room. We put up the proposals in detail, talk through them, talk through the pros and cons, and get feedback from the floor. And there could be little tweaks in that feedback that could go, well, actually, we didn't think of it from that angle. You're in it. You're the ones training your arses off. You know what should be done to improve this. And what, and kind of it feels a bit rushed through. It feels like, it feels like that it's been pushed through a small bit, kind of, as you said, kind of, look, there's our Tier 2, take it now. And but I think there could be just a small bit more done. This is a big decision for a lot of players. This could be players kind of going in the Tier 2 going, I'm going to enjoy this is going to be good, we're going to compete with teams of our own level, we're going to go on and try and win this competition, we're going to go up into the Sam Maguire like Carlo did this year, like Lee will do next year, with a bit of confidence, kind of bit of belief, and they'll figure that they'll be able to compete against the best teams a bit better at the moment. But then there's the other side of it where they mightn't get any big games, they won't be on TV, they're not getting that big day out. And I know that big day out is probably a 25-point hammering from Dublin or from Mayo or one of these teams, but it's still a big day out. They see it as a big day out, which I wouldn't be overly sure of. I'd prefer to be involved in a competitive game where I'm trying to win something and I feel I can win it, whereas I think a lot of these teams that go out against the real top teams kind of know that the writing's on the wall in essence. But it's something that, the players and the GPA and the CPA should be just brought in this before there's something that goes to floor to Congress, which is, I can't talk too much about it because I've never been to a Congress, and from what I've seen, it wouldn't be high in my list of things to go to, because I'd say it'd be frustrating for me, how it's done and how it's kind of nearly agreed beforehand on all these motions. I'd say there's a bit of eye winking and stuff going on. So yeah, it wouldn't be something that I'd be I think they should go to the players and representatives from all counties and get a good feeling from where they're coming from.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll be interesting to see if there is actually open debate and who they actually go to before this winter's Congress. You got the Irish Daily Mail this morning?
The Daily Mail, Lords and Masters, shock and awe as Ireland humiliate England in their hallowed home, which couldn't have been easy. And a small one here by John Fallon, Kenny backing All-Ireland Football League plan. So I like the looks of this. Stephen Kenny in favour of All-Ireland League, but feels the government must first pump significant investment into stadium infrastructure to maximise the concept. But it would be good, wouldn't it? I think with throwing a few of them teams, it'll certainly spice things up and bring a serious atmosphere to some of the games. But it might just, if their side of it got into it, and obviously the league down here the League of Ireland got into it, I think it could be something that could be good.
But if the promises of big prize money actually turn out to be true, then I see it a win-win-win, because no question about it, it would be a better league. But if you're ultimately going to lose one of your European places, which is a huge money spinner for these clubs, then it's not worth it unless you can stump up big money, which Lucid is actually promising to come up with. So it seems like it's all guns blazing in this. And if you've got someone like Stephen Kenny, who knows Irish football inside out, supporting this, that's a huge endorsement for it this morning. The Daily Telegraph then, finally for me, goes 85 all out. England slumped to one of their worst totals on home soil against an Ireland side playing their third test. It's pretty sweet to read that on the front of the Daily Telegraph sports section. And Jeffrey Boycott saying England were in one-day World Cup mode. They played like it was just a practice match. Yeah, we talked about it. The Guardian goes with England humbled. Murtagh basks in Lord's son and delivers Ash's wake-up call. And again, this racism on the rise. Kick it out reports increase in grassroots discrimination. So we got to nip that in the bud. That's more over there, I presume. But let's have a look at what the Irish News is leading with this morning. McIver says club scene crucial if Derry County team is to thrive. You've also got upper hand for Ireland as England are stunned. And let's go see what's on offtheball.com this morning, because we've got breaking news. Adare Manor to host the 2026 Ryder Cup. This had been in the pipeline for some time. The rumour had been out there, but confirmed this morning that Adare Manor is going to host the Ryder Cup in 2026. You played there, Kieran?
I did.
Lucky man.
Yeah, it's unbelievable down there. Like it's certainly fit to host it anyway. The course is ridiculous shape, 24/7. And it's just a joyful place to be, really. It's like being transported somewhere else. It oozes class. And
do you think Jordan Spieth and Brooks Koepka like sitting in Adare traffic?
Yeah, but JP will probably sort that out.
He's already got the bypass done before that.
I would say that's probably on the agenda. And yeah, it's good news for me anyway, for my drives up and down with work, both media and PST, that I'd be able to skip by Adare, because it is a constant kind of like 20-minute delay going both ways.
I know it's supposed to be a brilliant course. I should actually say we're expecting confirmation of that this morning.
I know.
It's not actually confirmed there. I misspoke there. So we're expecting confirmation at 10 a.m. this morning. So great course. Great to see it back in Ireland again. Hopefully, as long as
going on the back of Portrush and Lahinch, it's like, there's nobody does things better than the Irish, and we'll give the Yanks a good welcome in 2026 if it's on Adare, and I could see there'll be serious buzz down there with the when you're throwing Lowry and McIlroy and these guys into it. It'll be some fun, in fairness.
Let's have a look at Gaelic Life. Farney favourites. Seamus McEnany nominated for Monaghan manager's job, while Tony McEntee amongst those linked to the position. Seamus McEnany back as Monaghan boss. Is that a yay or a nay if you're a Monaghan fan?
I always liked Benty, so I always thought he was good, and he had that Monaghan team back in 08 just as competitive as this Monaghan team was, really. They were constantly knocking on quarterfinals, kind of on quarterfinals area. Would some of the players like to be going back to him? I don't know how them relationships work. Are they better off driving on with someone new? But Benty, for me, certainly has Monaghan in his heart, and he would be looking to do the right thing.
You mentioned Rory McIlroy near the top of the show there. He was speaking before the event at Memphis this week. Let's have a look at what he said.
Once I was in ninth and I put my tee in the ground, I sort of noticed my hand trembling. And I was like, geez, this is different. And I don't know, the first tee shot there wasn't really a comfortable tee shot for me anyway last week. And, in hindsight, I probably should have just hit driver.
That's interesting. So he's obviously talking about the first tee at Royal Portrush last Thursday morning. Hands trembling. Must be a terrifying prospect. Like, I know you were making the point at the top that it's harsh to call him a choker or harsh to call him a bottler. Is that not what that is? Somebody who manages to allow that to get to him. Granted, I will never ever experience what that's like, or anything close to that. So it's hard for us to speak on the outside.
Not many of us. There's very few in the world would I don't know what the equivalent is for Tiger, but there is no Portrush in America where Tiger's teeing it up, and everybody he's probably ever known in his life from that area was around that first. And Rory would have known that. He would have seen all the faces. He would have walked out there and felt that kind of, let's go, you're our man, let's do it, let's win. You got to win on our course. It's your course, you should win. So there's the pressure of playing there all his life. He should know the place like the back of his hand. He's obviously one of the best ball strikers in the world. So it leads you to believe that Rory should just turn up and win in Portrush, because even me, if it was on a Tralee Golf Club, I'd be kind of going, I know Tralee well, I know all the places not to go, I know where to hit it. So there's an automatic familiarity that a lot of people from America coming over to Portrush wouldn't have a clue of. So, people kind of think he's that advantage, and then he's as good as he is. So he's got all that on top of it. So, but when you put the ball in and your hand is trembling coming away from it, it's not a choke. He's just nervous. You're allowed to be nervous, and sometimes when you're nervous, you might make a mistake. And in golf, it's hugely punished, that one mistake, that one bad swing, that one fraction of a second that you don't get your hips into the ball, or you get your hands or your wrist too much into the end of it, and you're hitting a hook out of bounds, and you're walking off with a 4. Like, the fact that he was still around 4 over going on to the last hole, in my eyes, he was after doing a great job. Now, the last was a disaster because he missed the putt at the end, and that little sharp putt that he was just so frustrated with at that time ended up costing him making the cut. But, I felt for him because it's just horrible for a sports person to be in that position where, and it's very distinctive in golf because it's only you, as I said. It's like not me going out in an All-Ireland final. I'm nervous, but Jesus, this fella can bail me out, and that fella out there can have a great game, and I can get away with not playing well. You can't do that in golf. This is you in front of your own people, in front of the world watching, and you're trying to smack this little ball out the middle of a fairway that you've done thousands of times in Portrush before. But there's stuff going on in your head that, I guess that the sports psychologist will tell you there should be a place you're able to go to zone all that out. I really don't know what that place is for McIlroy in that instance, in front of his own crowd, on his home course, being one of the best golfers in the world. That must be a horrible place to be standing there knowing you're that nervous. I think any amateur golfer that's ever hit a golf ball in a club competition, in a playoff or anything like that, even in a 4-ball when there's nobody watching, you're standing over a 4-ball, like in the 18th, you're kind of going, I have to hit a good one.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't hit a good one. Did you choke, or was it just you got ahead of yourself, or you didn't get around it? Like, it's just that word choke for a sports person. I think it's like a choke is like a 98% free throw shooter that misses 2 free throws to win a game. Like, that's choke because, his free throw shooting is excellent. So you should be able to make them all. But a golfer, there's just so much that goes into it. And it's such a game that goes on here all the time. So I don't think that they kind of choked. It would have been just that one bad swing. And next thing he's kind of walking down the fairway going, I'm out of bounds.
He probably was, to be fair.
He probably was. He was like saying, oh no, I'm out of bounds, I'm in trouble. Next thing you're kind of going, Jesus Christ, am I going to get a 7 or 8 here? What's that mean for the tournament? He was back to 2 over, like walking off the 9th, which would have been unbelievable. I think if he'd held that out and finished 2 over, it would have been like, right, I got through that nightmare. And now I can go attack it for the rest of the week. Whereas, the 18th obviously was a disaster, and probably killed him actually more than the first hole, I would say. It's
true. So it was interesting to hear from him there yesterday. I still maintain that if you're on your home course with an iron in hand and you shoot out of bounds, it's not on the level of a 98% free throw. Missing 2 free throws to win a championship, but there is a lot of things in place here for Rory McIlroy to not shoot the ball OB, in my opinion. But perhaps that's an argument for another day. There will be plenty of arguments in the Shock Talk this morning. It is 8 o'clock on this Thursday morning. You're watching or listening to OTB AM, the sports breakfast show from Off the Ball. OTB AM is sponsored by Avantcard, powered by MasterCard, and the Shock Talk is next.